We're going to have fun today. I'm going to cram as much content as I can into this 90 minutes, and I can't get it all in. But I'm going to give you something free when I leave as a way to keep in touch. How about that? So if you guys are ready to have a good time today, say, uh-huh. If you're ready to have a good time today, say, uh-huh. Turn to your neighbor one more time and say, neighbor, buckle up. We're going for a ride. Now turn to your other neighbor and say, neighbor, my other neighbor needs a Tic Tac. We're going to laugh, trust me. We're going to think, trust me. You're going to get challenged, trust me. I want to get in your Kool-Aid a little bit today. How about that? Now, final thought, I've heard about all the other speakers you've had. And the funny thing, they're all my friends. Waldo Walbin is my friend. Mark Sharonbrock is my friend. Okay, Mark Sanborn is my friend. But just because they're my friends, I love to compete. And when I'm done today, you know what I want Bruce to say? I want Bruce to say, you know what, that Walter Bond, it's going to be a hard act to follow. And that's fine, because I can come back 2 years in a row, no problem. Okay, lesson number one. Lesson number one. Lesson number one. Are you with me? Lesson number one. Lesson number one. If you want to be successful in business, cut off the news. The media's job is not to tell us the truth. The media's job is to make money. The media has figured out that America is addicted to negative information. So every night at 6 o'clock, what do we get? Think about it, people. You're smart. When is the last time you watched a news broadcast, turned to your wife, husband, significant other, and said, honey, I feel real good about America? Does that ever happen to you? Remember when we grew up, people say, look, I got good news and bad news. Which one do you want first? Remember that? The media stopped asking. And all they give us is bad news. You know, one of the biggest ways I kick my competition's butt is I don't even watch the news anymore. I found out last night that Michael Jackson was dead. I mean, I love Michael Jackson. Nobody told me he was dead. See, if you listen to the media, some of you guys really believe that every black guy in the NBA was raised by a single mom, played his way out the ghetto, and we all go broke when we're done playing sports. Some people really believe that. Can I teach you something today? I was not raised by a single mom. I did not play my way out the ghetto. Everyone in my family has master's degrees. I was going to college anyway. It just made sense to go for free. My father was a 6'6", 240-pound high school principal. My father said what he meant, and he meant what he said. My father was one of the most intelligent men I've ever met in my life. Quiet man, but his mind was always working. His mind was always processing. He was one of the most intelligent men I have ever met in my life to this day. He was a 6'6", 240-pound high school principal who said what he meant and meant what he said. He was a quiet man, which means he understood the equity of words. Remember that commercial, E.F. Hutton speaks, people. When you speak, don't you want people to? Can you do me one favor? Shut up. Stop talking so much. Words possess equity. And just like real estate, if there's a lot of homes on the market, the equity goes what? Down. When there are few homes on the market, the equity goes what? Up. Great business leaders, it's not the quantity of what you speak, it's the quality of what you say. Have you ever been in a business meeting that's almost over and someone stands up and makes a dumb comment or asks a dumb question? Has that ever been you? Now, when that person does that, how do you feel about that person? You're like, dude, shut up, we're almost done. What's wrong with you? It's been a long freaking day. We covered that in the first hour. What's wrong with you? So here's what I want you to understand, business leaders. Every time you open up your mouth, your brand either strengthens or it weakens. Every time you open up your mouth, your brand either increases or it weakens. So business leaders, it's not about speaking more, it's just about speaking less, but making sure what you say is brilliant. Do you hear what I'm saying? People say this all the time, talk is cheap. No, it's not. I make money running my freaking mouth. Talk ain't cheap if you know what you're talking about. My daddy was a quiet man, but when he spoke, he was like E.F. Hutton. When you speak, I want you to be like E.F. Hutton. Now, some millennials are confused right now. Raise your hand if you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Okay, let's give him a little test. When E.F. Hutton speaks, people, it was an old commercial back in the 70s, young buck. My mother was a kindergarten teacher. Gentle, patient, and nurturing. See, we live in what I call the timeout generation. See, I want to impact you at work, but I also want to impact you at home. I want to bless you at work, but I also want to bless you at home. We live in what I call the timeout generation. We have a brand new way to raise kids. Oh, Hannah, if you don't knock it off, mommy's going to give you a timeout. I'm going to count to 3. And if you don't have your fanny in that seat, I'm going to give you a timeout. 1, 2, 2.5. And then when she won't sit down, what do we do next? Give her pills. Am I telling you the truth? See, timeouts aren't new. My daddy gave timeouts. His timeouts were different. Even though I'm a Chicago City kid, my mama and my daddy are country folk. My dad's from Tennessee, my mom's from Kentucky, so even though I'm a Chicago City kid, my mama and daddy were country. And my daddy gave timeouts. His timeouts were different. My daddy only owned 3 belts. He had a black belt for his black shoes, he had a brown belt for his brown shoes, and my daddy had a 3rd belt I never saw him wear with clothes. And the more I think about it, that belt wasn't for him, was it? That belt was for his 2 boys. My sister never got in trouble. It was always my brother and I. Now, my mother would say these magic words. Some of you guys heard the same words when you were young. Wait until your father. Now, you cannot enjoy the rest of your day when your mama said that. Am I right or wrong? My mother was a kindergarten teacher. Gentle, patient, and nurturing. So when she gave a bad report to my dad, he already knew that me and my brother had crossed the line. So I don't know how you were raised, but this is how our timeouts went. My father would come home, go into the back door, get the report from my mom, and he would calmly call my brother and I's name. Walter, Louis, come here. You ever notice when kids are in trouble, they walk real slow? I mean, we run the ice cream, we run the McDonald's, we run in the sporting goods store, right? But when we're in trouble, we walk real slow. And we would mosey downstairs and meet our fate. I don't know how you were raised, but this is how our timeouts went. My daddy would grab that favorite leather belt, and he would spank me and my brother until he got tired, and then my dad would take a time out. Now, if you grew up like that, say, uh-huh. If you listen to the media, they call that abuse nowadays. Am I telling you the truth? They throw one blanket and call that abuse. Now, surely it can escalate to abuse. I get that. But I promise you one thing. You didn't have to worry about a Bond kid playing hooky. You would have never seen a Bond kid cheating on the test. You would have never seen a Bond kid walking down the streets showing a crack in his butt. Now, I'm not saying go home and beat your kids. Some of you guys can't wait to leave here, can you? I'm not saying go home and beat your kids. What I am saying is to make sure your children can hear your voice. I can always hear my father's voice. You have children, you have grandchildren. Here's my rhetorical question. Can they hear your voice? My father could protect me on the streets of Chicago when he was not even there because I could always hear his voice. So when your school kids are on the school bus, can they hear your voice? When they're in the lunchroom, can they hear your voice? When they're on the playground, can they hear your voice? When all their friends are going to buy some marijuana, can they hear your voice? That's all leadership is, ladies and gentlemen. You're not at work today. I'm assuming your company's still making some progress. Do you need to check your cell phone every 15 minutes, or can your employees hear your voice? Have you built a culture that even though you're not there, that everyone on your team, everyone on your construction company understand what you want because you have set the expectation, you have built the culture, and they can hear your voice. My father would say, go out, have a good time, play with your friends, but don't let the street lights beat you home. When those street lights come on, don't be on the front steps, don't be in the driveway, have your butt in the house. Clear instructions. So me and my brother had strategy. In Chicago, when the street lights come on, they make a clicking humming sound. Click, And me and my brother calculated it takes 3 to 5 minutes for the lights to fully illuminate. Which technically means we have 3 to 5 minutes to get our butt home. So one day we're in the park playing football, the game tied 49-49. Now, when you're from the south side of Chicago, here's what I want you to understand. When you get the best kids from the south side of Chicago to play ball, we had no idea, 12 and 13 and 14 years old, that we would go on to play in the NBA, go on to play Major League Baseball, go and play in the NFL. We were just the best kids on the south side of Chicago. We would organize our own games, and the games were good. You're playing basketball in the park. Your point guard's first name's Tim, last name's Hardaway. You're playing football in the park. Your quarterback's first name's Donovan, last name McNabb. We had a big fat kid we wouldn't let play because we thought he was too big and too slow. And he went on to be the #1 pick in the NFL draft. He won the Outland Trophy in college. He won championships with the Miami Hurricanes and the Dallas Cowboys. His name is Russell Maryland. And we thought he was too slow. Our games were good. So one day when the park playing football, the game's tied 49-49. And all of a sudden, I noticed it was starting to get dark. Me and my brother heard a clicking humming sound of Chicago street lights. Click. All the other kids ran back to the huddle for the next play. Me and my brother were paralyzed in fear, just looking at each other. And our friends would see our trepidation, and they would say this: "Okay, Lewis, Walter, don't leave now. The game is tied." You guys remember this one? Okay, next touchdown wins. You guys remember that? Man, a touchdown could take 15, 20 minutes. Me and my brother knew we had 3 to 5 minutes to get our butt home. So all of a sudden, we had another voice competing with our father's voice. All of a sudden, we had another voice competing with our father's voice. All of a sudden, we had another voice competing with our father's voice. If you want to build a strong culture, there's one voice that should be heard inside your organization. And if you have any other competing voices inside of your organization, you will not have a strong culture. My father was clear. Go out, have a good time, play with your friends. But don't let the street lights beat you home. Do you have another voice competing with your voice? Oh, wearing a helmet's not big a deal. It's not a big deal. Wearing protective eye gear, that's not a big deal. That's just safety's problem. I know he says it, but don't worry about it. See, if you want to build a strong culture, you better make sure that your organization has one voice, and that voice is clear. So we had other voices competing with our father's voice. I'm happy to announce my daddy was undefeated.